Good morning, everyone. It's Friday. How are you? As promised, posting today's episode in regards to inventory management. So today's Friday, the 29th of May. We're almost in June, about almost halfway through the year. And inventory management's important all the time, but as we reach month end here now, you might be thinking to yourself, do I need to reconcile all of what I have? First, let's talk high level about inventory management. Most businesses, almost half businesses from what I've read, they don't use any software for inventory management, and that's okay, especially if you're a startup and you're brand new. As I've mentioned previously, Google Suite, Excel sheets, what have you is fine as long as you can put some of the basics in mind of how to classify your packaging, your ingredients, your finished goods, etc. But a couple other reasons inventory management is important in my opinion, and even if you look out and do some research on it, is it's probably about a third of companies that were late on orders because they didn't have the right stock, they didn't have the right inventory. And that doesn't just mean that you didn't have finished goods inventory. You may have not had finished goods inventory because you didn't have a packaging component or a particular ingredient that made up the entire recipe for that thing that you're selling. So, inventory shortages, not really a thing that anyone is a huge fan of, especially as you're trying to grow your business. And it's, lowering your inventory costs are certainly something that you want to be able to manage as well. So it's a bit of a catch-22. How do I make sure I have enough inventory to satisfy my customer demand, but I don't have too much inventory that I'm sitting so long on it that I've got so much of my cash tied up in inventory, when you probably want to be using that cash to be making sales and marketing and promotions and what have you. So a couple of things to think about. First, I'd say out of stock. Out of stock stinks. It just is what it is. Nobody likes to be out of stock. It's tough to sell something when it's not on the shelf or it's not available in your web store. So there's stock out situations are not really something that are of interest. And like I mentioned, overstock's really not better either, because you tie up a lot of your inventory, and then sometimes if it's time sensitive or if it has an expiration date, you may find yourself having to discount it heavy just to move it out so that you don't have to throw away this stock. So you got those two things to think about. And there's also inventory shrinkage. When you carry too much and you don't have good accounting records and you don't have good control around and management around where all my things are, how many I have, when I'm transferring them from a warehouse to another warehouse, or from a warehouse to a production facility, or to my 3PL or my final customer, if you're not able to manage that inventory throughout the system, shrinkage happens. And some of it's just damage, some of it's just lost. But it's also, sometimes people just take things because they know no one's really watching. It happens. So there's a couple of things I'd like to just chat about in regards to if you're using Excel, if you're using Google Sheets, or even if you're using QuickBooks. This type of thing works to help figure out what to have on hand. There's a few equations I want to point out. The first one is delivery lead time. So you want to think about and understand, what is the delivery lead time for everything that you buy? Every bit of packaging. If you're a beverage and you're in a bottle, how long does it take you to get a bottle, a cap, a label? How long does it take to get all the ingredients? So the delivery lead time equals the number of days from the order date until that merchandise arrives in your warehouse. So that's the first equation. Second equation is your lead time demand. Lead time demand is your average daily sales multiplied by your average lead time in days. So if on average you sell 100 units a day and your lead time is 10 days, it's going to be your lead time demand equals your 100 units of sales per day times your lead time of 10 days gives you your total lead time demand. Safety stock is important too, and all of these equations wind up working together. So even though your average is about 100 units a day, you may have a spike. Maybe you have seasonal items that maybe you sell soup all year long, and soup does decent in the summer, but it probably does really, really good in the fall and the winter. So you're going to have some peaks and valleys to your business. So you want to take a look at, what is my safety stock and how do I build that? So a safety stock level, it's going to be your maximum lead time of any item that goes into your finished good, multiplied by your maximum daily sales. So whatever the most you've ever sold in a single day. So you're going to take that multiple, and then you're going to take that and deduct from that a multiplication of your average lead time and your average daily sales, which was the previous equation that we did. You're probably going to have some questions about this. If you do, just shoot me an email. I'm happy to send you the equations, john@armaturaco.com. So again, safety stock level equals your maximum lead time times multiple daily sales, that number. Then you're going to deduct from that average lead time times average daily sales, and together that's going to give you your safety stock level. Last thing I'll talk about is reorder point. Some people call it min-max. This is something that once you set up the prior equations, this will allow you to understand when you should reorder something. And if you're using Excel, if you're using Google Sheets, you can do a conditional format to say when it drops below this particular value, it tells you it's time to do something. Make it turn red, and it'll tell you, okay, I need to take action on this thing. So your reorder point equation is your safety stock, which we just talked about, plus your average lead time demand. That's your reorder point. So all three of those together, those equations together, really start to help your inventory management and allows you to have better control around how many items you have on hand, buying the right things at the right time, not carrying your stocks too high, too low. If you have any more questions about this, if you need some explicit detail about how to work these equations, happy to answer. john@armaturaco.com. I'll also look down here. You can see my email on the bottom here. So hope that's helpful. Hope you have a great day. It's month end. Get your inventory tightened up for the end of the month so you have a really good beginning balance next month in June. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care.